Hi there everyone, I want to show you how to make an e-commerce website very fast. We're going to be using WooCommerce and WordPress and Amazon. Everything is free except for the domain. That's about a few dollars per year, and a good theme if you want it, which is about $50 one time down. I'm going to assume that you know a little bit about technical work, maybe a bit about DOS. Either way, this is meant for a technical person who can possibly do this in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to get right into it and not waste any time. So first things you're going to want to do is sign up for an Amazon account at Amazon. Once you do that, this will be your dashboard. I'm going to log into mine and show you what that looks like. First thing we need to do, of course, is spin up a web server. So it's under EC2, click on EC2. And we're going to set a security group for it. That security group is going to allow it to be a web server and allow us to connect to it as well. Create that security group. It's going to be in the VPC because that's the free group. We're going to call it WordPress. It's also a very secure group for that fact. We want to allow port 22 for SSH access. I'd suggest using your IP for the purpose of the video. I'm putting anywhere. Port 80 allows the web server to connect. Hit create. Now we'll start our instance up. Go back to the instances and launch your instance. I like everything's in big blue buttons. It's very easy, especially this. You just hit the top one here, Linux AMI, Amazon Linux AMI, 64-bit. Hit select. Hit the next blue button here, review and launch. Again, I'm going very quick. We're going to edit the security group. Select the security group we just set up. WordPress. Review and launch. Everything looks good. Hit launch. We need to create a key pair. This is going to give us some more security to connect to our server. Call it WordPress. Download the key pair. I've already done WordPress, so we're going to try WordPress v2. It's downloaded now. We're going to launch the instance. It takes about 15 seconds for this instance to get started up. Meanwhile, if you're using Windows, you're going to need to download Putty. If you're on a Mac, open up a terminal and Google how to SSH into an Amazon EC2 instance. It's very easy. For the purpose of the video, we're going to use Windows. Just go to Google Putty. It's your first link. Download. You're going to need putty.exe and puttygen.exe. You need puttygen.exe because the format Amazon gives you isn't good enough for Putty. So let's open up puttygen.exe and load the key pair we downloaded from Amazon. It'll be all files wherever you have it. I'm going to drag it to my desktop here. No, I'm wasting time. Back into the generator. There it is. Click it. It's going to say, great, SSH2 RSA. Make sure that's selected. Save your private key. Don't worry about the password phrase to protect it unless you want it more secure. I suggest you do that. Let's call this WordPress. There it is on the desktop. We'll get back out of this. Now open up Putty. You're going to want to go back in EC2. We can see our instance is running there. I've got a couple terminated. Don't worry. You're just going to see yours running. Click on it. It's going to have a public IP. Take that public IP into Putty, the host name. Now you're going to want to expand SSH, click on authorization, and browse to that PPK file you just generated, and hit open. Hit yes. It's going to ask you for the username, which is always EC2 user. Hey, we're in. Next, we're going to need to install all the components to run a web server, Nginx, PHP, FPM, and Mysql. So first we'll update our Yum repository. I'm going to be going pretty quickly through these commands. They're all going to be in the description and in a text document for you to reference. This shouldn't take too long. Almost finished, I think. So next we'll install Nginx, sudo yum install Nginx, and PHP FPM. We're going to install PHP FPM extensions. And PHP APC for some performance enhancements. Now we need to configure Nginx. So we're going to create a default.conf file. Now, when you're in a Vim terminal, you need to hit I to go into insert mode to type in the document, and escape to get out of insert mode. Make sure you're in insert mode when you copy your configuration file in Vim. So we're going to copy the Nginx config. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to hit colon. You can see down here I have a command line. Hit W for write and Q to quit. And that has written that file. Now we're going to start the service. Of course, type it in the right order. And this command is going to make sure it reboots itself if the server restarts itself. And that's all done. So now we're going to install, we're going to configure PHP and open up the PHP configuration file. I'm going to go into insert mode, remove, comment this listen value here, and we're going to put in the other socket. We're going to change the listen owner and group to Nginx and the mode to 0664. Uncomment these as well. Change the user down here to Nginx and the group to Nginx, and this is the finish of our configuration here. Escape colon WQ enter. And now we'll turn on the PHP FPM service, and we'll add it to our check config. Great. MySQL is next. So we'll first install the MySQL service. Great. Well, then we're going to start the service. Okay, green lights are great. And I've even got a little copy and paste for the check config for the MySQL service as well. So 3 services are installed, 2 are configured. Now we're going to configure MySQL itself with a secure configuration that comes on the server itself. And that's the command for that, which is referenced in the document. Enter for none because we don't have a password. Enter a new root password. Make this secure. That one's not secure, and that's not where I type it. Anyway, I'm just doing this for reference and for speed. Okay, remove the anonymous users, disallow root login, remove test databases, and reload the privileges. We're all done there. So now we're going to log into the MySQL service and create our WordPress database. Use the password you just created. And here's the command to create the database, WordPress-db. That's it. We're done with MySQL. So now we're going to download WordPress to our folder so people can see it. And then WordPress has this wonderful latest version file. We could just download that right here. That's all complete. And now we're going to unzip it. ls will tell us it's there. WordPress, great. And now I'm going to copy the WordPress files into my live HTML directory. The files from here into my live HTML directory. That's done. Now we're going to go in there and we're going to rename the WP config file to WP-config. This is for security. Don't worry about that. Now we're going to open it and make our changes so we could connect to the database. The database name was WordPress DB. And we're going to use our root credentials. Security guys are laughing at me. Don't do this. I would create a username and authorize it to the database. But this is for speed. Escape colon WQ enter. And that's done. We should have a website. So let's go back to our Amazon instance dashboard and get that IP again. It's the same IP you used to connect to the server. Open up a new tab in a web browser. Just type the IP in there. Come on. Woo, we're in. Okay, so for speed, we're just going to give it a whole bunch of jargon. This is going to create our admin username and password and email address so we can log in. .cmo. And we're in. Let's log in real quick. Test, log in. Here's our WordPress dashboard, and here is our website.